Good morning, everybody. Auronnj here with another weekend update video, and today I got some things on my mind. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis today. I'm definitely not ready to give a full review of that game yet. They are actually releasing some more content to us this afternoon, I think in like an hour at the time I'm recording this video, but I have some things I want to say about that, so I'll address that game. I want to talk about War of the Visions. I max reincarnated my second unit, so DIALDO and King Bradley are the max reincarnated bros at this point. And let's cover Honkai Star Rail a little bit in this video, and I want to talk about playing 3 gacha games at once, which it's a lot. It's a lot of games to keep up with. Luckily, Honkai Star Rail is definitely a side game until it's not for a few days, and then it kind of pivots back to a side game again. So I'll just address all that. But let's start with Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Now, this game has met or exceeded expectations in almost everything I was looking at. Like I said, I'm not ready to do a full review yet, but the main attraction for me in this game was not only that it was going to be the Final Fantasy VII story again, but it was going to be the whole Final Fantasy VII universe. Right now, that means First Soldier and Advent Children. Oops, I'm out. Crisis Core. We're getting those 3 games. Basically, it's Zack's game, First Soldier, and the regular Final Fantasy VII. And we have not been allowed to go very far into any of those stories yet. But the way it's telling stories in that game is it takes a lot of the like random running around maps with random encounters out, condenses the story into small bits. You play through the important battles. There are maps where you do have to traverse the map. There's random encounters, treasure chests, all that kind of thing. But the big deal for me is that it's going to take all of the Final Fantasy VII stories at some point and put them in one place where you can go experience them. I think there's a lot of people like myself who played the original Final Fantasy VII, loved that, but never got in to any of the like ancillary games. So providing a place to play through the story of all of those seems like a really good idea. The graphics look really good, the delivery is good, the game feels well built, so we'll see what it looks like at launch. And there seems to be a ton of side content to do, more than a game like Near Reincarnation, a lot more than a game like Echoes of Mana had. So if you were worried about it being too much like those games, I think you're going to be safe. It plays a little bit like Near Reincarnation, but my biggest problem with that game was kind of like, what am I doing in that game? And the Near Reincarnation gacha I very much disliked. The Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis gacha, you pull 5 stars all the time in this game. There's a lot of 5 stars to pull, but it's just weapons. And I mean, I barely ever do a 10 pull where I don't get a 5 star. 7.5% chance of them dropping. That just makes it feel better. So a lot to say about that game. Just know I'm going to play through this whole beta, keep releasing content. If it's a game you've been looking forward to, I'll get a full review for the game out probably by next weekend once the beta's wrapped up. Okay, now let's go to War of the Visions for a second. I want to show you guys the power of max reincarnated tanks and the power of max reincarnated DIALDO in particular. So you can see I've got his bravery and faith working their way up in the guild barracks right now. Here's his stats at how many reincarnations was this? 84. You can see I maxed out the green on every one of them. Almost got HP pushed all the way up to 3,300. I'm at 3,112. That was good enough for me. I could roll this a couple more times, get a little more magic, maybe a little more HP, but I didn't get those like TP points and I didn't want those. So, okay, we're looking good. I'm pretty satisfied with that. And 11,000 HP, like pre-buffed, is really dang good. Bradley, for example, is at 7.7. So the difference between a tank and a DPS unit right here, and we all know how hard King Bradley is to kill, DIALDO going to be even tougher. If you wanted to see kind of what he looks like in a group, keep in mind we have not got what I'm going to call like his Esper and Vision card yet. Dark Golem, that comes out this coming Wednesday, but with no gear equipped, you're at about 14,000 HP, and those stats, and I haven't farmed his weapon yet, but if you were to put like a platinum robe on him and then maybe a TMR, like I'll just rip this one off of Auronnj. If I just put those on him and he still needed his weapon, now you're looking at a 16.1k HP unit with 94 agility. Like, he's not going to be really slow. You could obviously make him faster using a different TMR. Defense and spirit aren't super high with this build, but this is a guy who tanks through AoE resist, which I'll get more of on his spear, single target resist, and just a boatload of HP. I mean, he's going to be really tough to kill, and I think he'll do respectable damage as well. So I can't wait for his vision card Esper to roll in. Yeah, DIALDO ready to rock it with his buddy Bradley there. Next week's going to be a big DIALDO week for me. Okay, so that's what's going on in War of the Visions. Otherwise, hey, we're just rolling forward till the next collab, next anniversary. The game's doing great, and I'm loving it. Now, I do want to talk for a second. I'll tell you what, let me leave this DIALDO stats on the screen, because that's just kind of fun. I want to talk for a second about Honkai Star Rail. Now, I'm really still enjoying Honkai Star Rail. It has taken me a minute to get used to the flow that HoYoverse does with its games. And how do I want to say this? They release content the way they do. People who played Genshin have been like, yeah, this is just normal. Why are you overreacting to it? And I've been like, well, look, I didn't play Genshin Impact. I want to play more Honkai Star Rail. And they're like, bro, chill out. You only need to play your dailies every day. I know. Some days, though, I want to do a little more than that. Okay, that being said, I have kind of figured out the flow. I do my simulated universe every week. I do my weeklies. I do my dailies. I just keep slowly leveling up my characters, leveling up my Trailblazer level, and eventually I'll hit max Trailblazer level, and eventually I'll level up all my traces, and eventually I'll level up all my gear, or at least get some good pieces of gear for people. It is a slow burn on that game. It is very much a side game, in my opinion. Like, it is War of the Visions is a game that if I wanted to, I could play for 2 to 3 hours a day. Honkai Star Rail is very much a 30 minutes or less most days, unless it's like a simulated universe day or a day where you just want to go do some extra stuff. That being said, when they release big content updates for this game, like 1.2 is coming out, it just has a way of re-energizing you. Like, I get the HoYoverse magic when it comes to, hey, they release really neat stuff on Twitter. Their YouTube promotional videos are next level with the voice actors and the little owl that's guiding you through it. Character design is on point, and there's so much that it looks like to do in patch 1.2 that when it comes out, I will temporarily forget that it's like 6 weeks worth of content. And so it will space itself out like 1.1 did, and I will burn bright for a while and then let it burn dim for a while. And that's just the ebb and flow of that game. Honkai Star Rail is one of the best side game gachas that's probably on the market right now. So if it's not a game that you've thought about getting into, hey, 1.2 would be a great time to jump into that game. I'll try to kind of cover it a little more on my channel. It has been difficult for me to adjust to the speed of that game when it comes to releasing content. Like, there's the hardcore theory crafters out there that are like min-maxing stuff, and I like that form of content. It just doesn't feel necessary to me in Honkai Star Rail, because if you have like a healer and some good damage, you can clear everything in the game except for Memory of Chaos. And even trying to mess with Memory of Chaos, or at least trying to like max clear Memory of Chaos before your max Trailblazer level with like fully leveled up characters feels like punishment. It doesn't feel hard. It feels like, oh my gosh, this is just kind of dumb. All these enemies are 10 levels higher than me or whatever. So I'll wait for that. Like, I will let the slow burn happen. I'll let my units cook, because if I was going to already be there, I'd have either had to spend all my jade on like leveling and power leveling my units, or whale out just to play the game more, which is not something that I typically like to do. I like to wail on polls, if I'm being real. So anyway, that's kind of the Honkai Star Rail side of things. Kafka Blade coming out these next 6 weeks in 1.2, starting the 19th, I believe, is when Blade drops. So a lot to look forward to there. Okay, guys, that's what's on my mind as far as each individual game. As far as covering 3 gacha games go as a content creator, it is not something I could probably do during the school year. Like, my schedule was full already. I'm not saying I'm going to drop any of the games that I'm playing anytime soon, because I'm still very invested in them, but whenever Crisis comes out, I will hit that very hard. I can't imagine ever giving up War of the Visions. Like, my flow for War of the Visions, I feel like I just have a good flow. So that will be the last thing I ever just drop because I kind of got it figured out. But with a game like Honkai Star Rail, that will probably be the one that if I have another game besides WoTV that's really crushing it for me, it's probably where the Honkai Star Rail content will drop off a little bit and then come back up as I feel like I'm hyped to make content again, because it is a lot of work making YouTube videos, keeping up on games. And if I'm not hyped to be playing the game, like if I'm not excited about DIALDO, I'm probably not going to make DIALDO videos. Notice how with Dia, I made a little bit more Dia content because she was a unit that really excited me. Addison Rae, there was a lot of buzz around that unit. So I've made a little bit of extra content around her because it was interesting to see how they would like deal with the free-to-play version of her. We're still waiting to see if we get any more Addison Rae stuff. I hope we do. And then with Honkai Star Rail, yeah, I get it. Hoyoverse just hits you with everything at once and makes you want to spend money because it's presented in such a cool way. And then 4 days go by and you're like, all right, now it's time for the chill moments. So anyway, I'll figure it out. I am not ready for school to start again. My mom was asking me a couple days ago, what is the first day of school? And I was like, I don't know. I don't want to look. I don't want to think about it. I want to play games, play with Baby J, and hang out with my family and have a good summer. So that's still where I am. This coming weekend will be the next official War of the Visions PvP tournament. So Justin and I will be duoing that one again, and I hope to see you there. Have a good one, everybody. I'll catch you next time. Peace.